Hello students, welcome to this video lesson on the volume supernote part 2, rectangular prisms. So as we start this video, we're going to go into section B, which is I labeled any based prisms. So within any based prisms, we have some specific examples. So let's look at example 1, the rectangular prism. So let's have a look at this 3D diagram here. So imagine this shape constructed at cube links or linking cubes. So let's talk about method 1. So let's focus on the base of this prism. So whenever we're talking about method 1, the base of the prism is always very, very important. So the base of the prism, imagine the top, if we were looking at this prism from the top or from the bottom. So if we were to flip it around, this is what it would look like. Well, what kind of shape is this base? Well, in this case, it's a square. So let's focus on the area of this base. So because it's a square, we have to use the correct formula. So area of a square equals s squared. Now sometimes in a rectangular prism, the base is not a square. It's most often a rectangle, isn't it? In this case, it is a square. So let's think of our 5-line solution from the area unit. So the next line, we write down what we know. The information line, S equals 3 centimeters. The third line is our substitution line. Now again, if you can get ahead of me, that would be great. So we have area equals, we know that the S is 3 centimeters squared. Our calculation line, area equals 3 times 3, which is 9 centimeters squared. Now in this case, we don't put the therefore statement because, again, these questions are not really about area, they're about volume. So we'll just leave that answer for now. Now there's a step 2 in using method 1. Now let's focus on the height. Now this shape has 2 layers. So if we imagine that this is one layer here, and then we have another layer stacked on top of it. So that's very important to know. Okay? So we use our formula for method 1. Volume equals area of the base times the height of the prism. Second line is our information line. Well, the area of the base we just calculated in the first step is 9 centimeters squared. The height is, it's right here. There are 2 layers in this rectangular prism. So it's 2 centimeters. Volume equals 9 centimeters squared times 2 centimeters equals, if we multiply these two together, 9 times 2 is 18 centimeters. Oops, I did that in the last video as well. Centimeters cubed. Remember, when we're talking about volume, it's always going to be units cubed. Now, because we solved for the volume, now we have to put our therefore statement. Therefore, the volume of this prism, we could put rectangular prism if we wanted, of this prism is 18 centimeters cubed. Don't forget the cubed. Okay, so that's method 1. Now method 1 is most helpful when we are already given the area of the base. In this case, we calculated the area just so that we would go through all the steps. Now method 2 is a more direct approach if you don't know the area of the base. And there is a formula for volume of a rectangular prism. VRP equals length times width times height, or base times height times depth. Now, these letters don't really matter as long as you understand what each dimension means. So, the first two, the length and the width, I always want you to be looking at the base, the bottom layer of that shape. So if we go back to method 1, remember the bottom layer was this diagram right here. So as long as you call one of these sides the length and one of these sides the width, you'll be fine. Okay? So let's write our information line. Our length equals 3 centimeters. Our width equals 3 centimeters. Now, in this case, remember, the base was a square, so they're essentially the same side. And then the height, or the depth, is how many layers was that area stacked on top of each other. And if you remember, it was 2 layers, or a height of 2 centimeters. You can look back to the second part of method 1 to figure that out. All right, our substitution line. Volume equals 3 centimeters times 3 centimeters times 2 centimeters. Then we calculate this together. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Now remember, when we're talking about volume, you have to put units cubed. Now because we calculated the volume, let's put our final statement. Therefore, the volume of this prism is 18 centimeters cubed. And of course, this answer is going to be the same as the answer we got from method 2 because there were 2 methods calculating the same thing. Okay, so this concludes this video lesson on volume of rectangular prisms. Thanks for watching. Bye.